Okay, so this is our first like big exciting problem here. Well, they're all exciting, but anyway, it says use the rational zero theorem to find the rational zeros of, and it gives us this polynomial. So they're not giving us any hints. We don't know any of the zeros. It's not a quadratic, it's cubic, degree 3, and we have to find the zeros, and it doesn't factor, by the way. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the P over Q thing. So my factors of P are plus or minus 1, and my factors of Q are plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 2. And so I'm getting possibles are P over Q. So I get plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 1/2. Those are my possible rational zeros. Okay, so I have 4 of them. And you say, well, how will I know if it's a 0? We're going to use synthetic division. Now, I almost always try 1 first. It might work, might not. So I'm pulling off these coefficients here from the polynomial, 2, 1, negative 4, 1. Of course, I have to make sure it's in standard form and all the terms are there, but it's good. And then I'm going to divide synthetically by 1. If it works out to be 0, so if I have a 0 remainder, then it's a 0. Okay, so bring down the 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 and 2 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Negative 4 and 3 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And I got really lucky. It worked. Okay, yay. So we found a 0. So put a star by that one because we know one of the zeros. Now, I don't have to try the other 3. You could, but now I have 2x squared plus 3x minus 1, and that is a quadratic equation. And so I would like to factor it. Let me see if I think it factors. No, I don't think this one's going to factor. But I want to know when does this equal 0, right? To find the other factors. I don't think it factors. So I'm going to use a quadratic equation. Quadratic formula, sorry. The opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. Now watch it factors, but over 2a. So I have negative 3 plus or minus, what do I get? 9 plus 8. Yeah, this isn't going to factor. Okay, 2. So I'm going to get negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 17 over 2. And I'm not going to get a decimal approximation. I want an exact answer. So my zeros are going to be, 1. That's the one I found right there, right off the bat. Got lucky on that. Now, you might be saying, well, what if the 1 didn't work? Then I would have tried negative 1. And then if that didn't work, I would have had to gone to 1/2 or negative 1/2 to see if any of those work. And then hopefully for our problems, 1 would work. But once we get it a quadratic, then we can solve a quadratic equation. Okay, so my 1, 0 is 1. We found that through synthetic division. And then I used the quadratic formula to get these. So now that we know the quadratic formula, we can pull that out anytime we need to solve a quadratic equation. Okay, so negative 3 minus the square root of 17 over 2. I would just write it like that. And negative 3 plus the square root of 17 over 2. And these are all real numbers, and those are the zeros for this polynomial.